So one of the things we want to talk about on the Pro series is just how easy it is to connect various different devices. So we're going to go over a couple of ways that you can connect to this interactive display. So the first thing we have is down on the right hand side is that traditional method for connecting. So just behind the display here you have your HDMI and USB connection. So that's your image, video, sound, and then the USB for touch. But on newer displays such as this one, we also have two USB-C inputs, meaning you can reduce those two cables down to one depending on the distance. The nice thing as well is that these USB-Cs are powered. So this one at the front is actually giving 65 watt of power. So not only is it going to take everything across for you, so your image, your sound, your touch with that one cable, it's also going to charge that device. So if you have something like a laptop, a Chromebook, or a device that you're connecting here with that USB-C, you can also hold power in that device. You don't have to worry about being connected to a desk or simply running out of power or that battery being depleted whilst you're connected to the Clevertouch Pro series. But the other way we see a lot of people connecting to the Clevertouch is they want to be able to cast their device. So that's where CleverShare, our casting software, comes in. So we can see at the top, we can change how visible that code is. We can remove it completely. We can have it visible the whole time and the whole code. We can also decide how often that code refreshes. So if we want that code to refresh every 10 minutes, just to ensure that people aren't connecting when we don't want them to, or remembering that code when they leave or go into another room, and then they're casting back to this device. But so I'm going to take my device here and this is a cross-platform way of casting, so I can use a laptop, so a Windows device, a Mac device, an Apple device, an Android device. So I can come in here, I'm going to go to my CleverShare application. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to enter that code at the top there into my CleverShare application, which I've now done. So I can now start to cast to the device simply by going to my AirPlay, finding CleverShare. And in just a moment, I'm going to see that device then appear up on the display. Now, one of the great things about when we're casting here, so let me be clear, you can have up to 50 devices that are actually connected to CleverShare at any one time, but you can actually share up to 9. Right? So you can have 9 being cast on the display at any one time. Now with our display here, which is a little bit smaller, again, with the Pro series, we have a range of sizes, 65, 75, 86, and even 98 inch available now. Okay, so on the larger screens, you may be able to do 6 or 9. On this one, we would probably recommend using 4 devices. There's a couple of other great features we have here once we've cast that device up. So if we had multiple devices, it would segment those and we can move them around. But also with this one, we can just come to the bottom left of our display and we can actually pop out that device so that that can float over the top of the display or whatever we're doing. So if we wanted to whiteboard, for example, while seeing what's on that device, that is something we can definitely do. Not only that, with these devices now and with CleverShare, you could also use this to actually as a visualizer. So we can bring that around the room and we can actually use that as a visualizer as we need to. If we want to go back into the casting, we can simply bring that screen back into a full screen mode. Now in terms of the controls that you have with CleverShare, if we go back into the main interface, which we can always access just at the top there if we have that visible, you can see I can go into the interface, I can actually see how many devices and the people that I have connected. And if I want to, I can individually remove them. I can actually send files from the device itself up here, or I can actually choose to disconnect everyone that's connected. And simply hit that option and it's going to kick everyone off and instantly you'll see that screen casting removed. Now, one final feature that I like to cover when I'm talking about CleverShare and this casting functionality is another feature that we can use through the same CleverShare application. So I'm just going to connect once more. And the feature I'm going to talk about here is the desktop sync feature. So now I'm connected, and I apologize, it's a little difficult to see, but now I have my CleverShare application open. I've reconnected there by entering the code, and I can see one that says desktop sync. When I click on that, it's going to pop up with a little icon here to say that there is something that's capturing what's happening on the display. And I'm just going to hit start now. And then what we can see is that everything is happening on the display is actually being replicated out to my device. And that's where those having 50 devices connected can come in really handy. Okay. Not only does then a student who maybe for example, isn't able to get to the front, or maybe is hard of sight or hearing, they can have it on their device whilst they're working alongside a teacher assistant or someone sat with them. But I can take it one step further, and if I want to, the teacher or the person at the front here can actually come into the device. They can see that someone is being cast, what's happening on the display, and if they want to, they could authorize the touch. So from here now, once that touch has been authorized, I can actually take control of the Clevertouch from my device right here. So now if I had a student, if I was whiteboarding, I can have a student actually interact with me, or another way we see this being used is someone who wants to be able to walk around the room and actually still control what's happening on their display at the front, which is all possible just via those fantastic options and abilities that come with the Clevertouch via CleverShare, one of our pieces of software.